Fish on. Lee's got a fish on, Pete. Lee's got a fish on. Coming over here. He's coming over here. Quick, Pete. Oh my gosh, that's a Slavosaurus Massive Rex, man. Holy cow. Gosh.
Look at that.
Look at the size of that muskie. Look at that fish. Oh my, that's heavy, isn't it, buddy? Oh, shit. Got it. Oh my God!
Let's get a look at this thing, Robbie. Oh my gosh. Dude, that is a giant. Robbie, that is unbelievable.
Oh, this is insane fish.
Oh my gosh. Dude, that's a 50-pounder, I bet. Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Today's Angler. Thank you so much for coming by again. We appreciate all the support you've given our channel over the last 3.5 years now.
Yeah, crazy. Another fall's here.
Yeah.
And hopefully another big muskie soon. A big one.
Oh, yes. But before any big muskie, if you could go down and hit the subscribe button, that would be terrific. We really appreciate all you guys that have been with us since the beginning, the middle, and as of late.
And now, yeah.
But yeah, just go hit that little red button. It would be awesome. And I guess as we sit now, we are on the home waters of Madison, Wisconsin, and the lake is currently turning over.
Yeah.
Sounds like there was 60 some fishermen this past weekend.
And 6 muskies were caught.
Yeah.
Not good. So we figured this would be a perfect time to talk about, I don't know, something kind of historical in muskie fishing history.
Yeah.
That's better, right?
Well, the fact that, we're coming up on kind of wrapping the season potentially down the way this weather is going right now, we might as well think about the biggest fish of the season. That's what a lot of you are focused on right now, is catching your biggest fish of the year. And I know
the fattest, the widest.
Yes, the most beautiful big muskies of the year happen from here on till ice up. So many of you, of course, have plans to your trophy destination water coming up, and I'm sure Mille Lacs Lake
is on the docket.
It's on the list for a number of people, and for good reason. However, kind of want to discuss and talk about what the heck happened to that lake. What happened to Mille Lacs?
Used to be incredible. I mean, probably this time of year, it kind of gets sentimental for you because you spent all those years in the fall trying to catch the new state record Minnesota muskie.
That was pretty much my goal.
Yeah.
Moving up there to Minnesota was...
Get that, what is it, 54 pounds?
54 pounds. Which was a 56-inch fish, by the way, caught in July.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't really real.
Probably wasn't 54 pounds. I don't know. I'm sure there'll be skeptics out there of anything, but it just was not even that fat. No. So at any rate, that doesn't really matter. I mean, who cares? Records, whatever. But
still, it's the one obtainable record that's still available in the United States, really.
As opposed to a 69 pounder from the Chippewa flowage?
Probably not.
Probably not. I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Yep.
But at any rate, Mille Lacs, I'm sure, is one of the lakes that you guys have on your list to, target truly world-class fish. And I was fortunate enough to spend a few years on that body of water. And as I'm sitting here right now thinking about it, actually getting sentimental about the time I spent there, it's really kind of sad to see. However, your chances at catching a truly monstrous 50-pound class fish is probably better now than it was even then, or close, not quite. Or let's say like a true record class 54-pounder is easier now than say 10 years ago.
Because they've been in there longer. And
incredible. But at any rate, I guess it makes the most sense to kind of go back to the story of how I ended up deciding to go to that lake to fish it on a full-time basis. Obviously, living here in southern Wisconsin, pretty much spent most of my life here and chasing small muskies. Yeah, to be honest. Into the defense of the fishery here, it's better right now than it's ever been.
Right.
So they've been here. It was a young fishery when I started fishing it.
Yeah, when they start stocking Madison. 80s?
Well, it was just like Mille Lacs. The late 80s, really the bulk of the big stocking efforts. And now we've got, really one of the best fisheries in the state. through a lot of work from a lot of people to get it to that point. But going back to Mille Lacs, I guess, for me it goes back to the fall of 2004 when once upon a time I wrote some articles for Esox Angler magazine.
Those weren't even musky ones, were they? Or were they?
Pike was my first article.
Yeah.
Because we have a trophy pike fishery, of course, here locally. So that was where I started out, is in writing. And I use that term loosely, writing. It's more conversational on paper, at any rate. So, yeah, started with the pike, but muskie for the Esox Angler magazine. And Pete Maina, who I got to know through the magazine, just happened to have an open spot in the boat the first week in November of 2004. He was going on a trip to Leech Lake, Minnesota. Yeah. And I checked my calendar, and I made myself open. Yeah. I was definitely still doing quite a bit of guiding then, but I wanted to go do this. What a great opportunity to fish with one of the mentors for me, one of the best in the industry, on new water, and actually new for me.
Spotted muskies.
Spotted. Leech Lake. The spotted muskie is obviously this kind of a whole topic of discussion in and itself. However, so I had this opportunity. I said yes. So I met Pete up at his house, and we proceeded to go to Leech Lake for 3 days, and we caught a total of 5 muskies, and the biggest was 49 and a half or 3/4. It was just a shade under 50-inch glass. But to rewind a little bit, the beginning of that trip, we pull up to Pelican Reef, first spot I ever fished muskies in Minnesota officially, and I'm like, I'll throw this Magic Maker jerkbait. It was an old beat-up white jerkbait, wood Magic Maker, and we're making the drift down. Pete's, running the boat. Pete is amazing at running a boat, by the way, and we're drifting this reef. 10 minutes into my first drift ever, I pop like a 45-incher on this Magic Maker.
It's wild.
So, and I'm like, wow, I've arrived.
It's November too, and they're acting like that. Totally. You think about fishing scotty fish this time of year, or in November. It's like
deep.
To catch one, on a lure, that's not.
It's hard.
Yeah.
There's
not saying it can happen, but it's hard.
It's much harder. Yeah. And by the way, that fish happened to be in about 5, maybe 6 feet of water. So shallow water, and the water temp was 38, 39. So we're talking late fall, cold water period.
And you're crawling up on rocks.
it's a very different animal from the barred fish of Wisconsin to the spotted fish. It's definitely a whole nother topic matter as well. Anyhow, kind of rambling here, but good memories. So anyhow, so that was the first drift. That's what got me hooked on the Minnesota deal. And after that 3-day trip with Pete, I ended up, on my drive home, I'm just like, the wheels are turning, are turning.
I need to do something.
I have to do more of this. This is really amazing. Caught I saw more big fish in 3 days. Really 2 days, because 1 day was kind of slow, than I had seen in my entire life. So
crazy.
I get back home, and my roommate at the time, Steve Imhoff, I'm telling him about the trip, and he's like, yeah, I've been here, and there's some big ones coming out of Mille Lacs Lake. I'm like,
There's this kind of before Google and all that, or was it? I mean, there's still something, right?
We had not really. No, there was not so much Google. I think it was Yahoo then. I can't remember what it was, or at any rate, the prime source of muskie information was Muskies Inc. Let's see, the monthly, or the magazine itself proper, and of course the listings of catch and releases through their database. And the other source was Muskie First.
Sure.
Forum
guys
pages.
Talking about on the forums, which I still use to this day.
Yeah, for sure. But that was that was the plan. Was like, okay, well, it's Thursday, tomorrow's Friday. Let's
go.
let's drive up Friday night, and we're gonna go to Mille Lacs and fish Saturday and Sunday, and that was it. Wow. So at any rate, we woke up late Saturday morning. Someone goofed on the alarm. So we did not roll into Mille Lacs Lake until noon, almost noon. It was probably 11:30 on the first weekend of November. Okay, and keep in mind, we're in a 17-foot Lund tiller. It's got a 50-horse tiller on it, I think it had. And we had one fishing hotspots map.
No GPS, really?
No
maps.
Yeah, the map said Garrison Reef was a 5-foot section. And keep in mind, Garrison Reef, the entire reef system is over 2 miles long.
That's incredible.
So all we knew that there was supposedly 5 feet out there.
Yeah.
And it was northwest winds, 10 to 15, maybe even some 20.
Yep.
Spitting snow here or there, high in the low 30s, mid 30s tops.
Yep.
So anyhow, we start driving, and we're looking for this 5 foot of water. And we did see a couple, there was like 2 or 3 boats in the distance.
Yep.
And I think Luke Ronastrand was one of them. Paul
Sure.
Hartman, I believe, was another one of them.
Sure.
And we're like, oh wow, here's 5 feet, or excuse me, here's 8 feet of water. We found 8 feet of water. We're like, wow, we're close.
Coming up. Yep.
Had no idea on the reef where we were.
Cool.
We did have a handheld GPS, that Magellan, that you would use for hunting in the woods or whatever.
Yep.
And all you could do is put down a waypoint, so you could at least have a waypoint.
Right. You can get back to that spot again.
Yes. No maps, none of that stuff. So we're ahead of the game really at that point. At any rate, so put the trolling motor down. We also had one other person, Clark Bailey, who was Steve's stepbrother. And he's all fired up, ready to go. He's already got a medium or a regular black chartreuse bulldog on.
Yep.
And he fires out. I didn't even have a rod in my hand yet. He's like, got one. I look up, and sure enough, his rod is banging.
Winged over.
First cast we ever made in Mille Lacs Lake, we got a 48.5-inch fish.
Yeah.
I mean, 30-some pounder.
Yeah. Just, oh wow, okay, another one of these.
Holy crap.
Insane.
I can remember that
Yeah.
just about like it was yesterday.
That moment. Ugh, that's so cool.
So I was explaining the fact that we did not really get out there till late that morning. And for the next, we fished obviously till dark, about 5 hours of fishing, noon till 5:30, whatever. And we managed to catch 5 muskies. And the smallest, I think, was like 44.
Yeah, like you catch a 44 here, it's like, wow,
Dang.
hell of a week.
Nice one, yeah. How many weeks has it been since we got a mid-40?
Yeah, right?
At any rate.
Insane, totally different animals. Especially that time. They were dumb.
They were dumb. Like, one of the fish I remember in particular, I caught on a jointed 7.5-inch Tennessee shad grandma. And I know we were just kind of falling off of the reef. And it was right on that drop off. And I'm getting the grandma to the boat. And I do kind of the loose line double snap where I swing the bait, snap. And this muskie comes up upside down and eats my grandma bait with like 8 feet of line out. And it was, I don't know, 44, 45-inch class fish.
So cool.
Wow. But yeah, so that was that day. The very next day, it was much different weather. It was a hard west wind, west to even southwest a little. And we're like, wow, we can't get back out there. It's way too rough to go back to Garrison Reef. So we're looking at the hotspots map in the hotel. We're like, okay, well, this point, which is Indian Point, by the way.
I like that place.
You remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah, we'll talk
place.
about that.
Yeah.
So on the southwest corner of the lake, down by the casino, Vineland Bay area, lies Indian Point, which was the only really fishable spot, by and large, obvious fishable spot that day. So we roll out there. We got shredded one time, missed a fish. And then we popped actually a Scotty. It was like a 47-inch Scotty.
Cool.
And it's just a butterball, beautiful fish.
Well, it's interesting. In the 1980s, they were stocking Wisconsin strain fish into Mille Lacs. And then
84 through 88.
So these fish actually came from the Caleb's Fish Farm.
Caleb's Fish Farm, yep.
Which, incredible. I wish that still existed because he had a pet 57-incher that he was getting brood stock from. I mean, Wisconsin fish. Could you even imagine a 57-inch Scotty?
How does it even happen?
Yeah. incredible genetics in that one. And that actually stocked Mille Lacs, that's why they got so flipping big.
I mean, we are not biologists.
No.
We are not scientists.
We're fishermen.
Yeah. But we spend a hell of a lot of time on the water and know what fish produced in what bodies of water.
Yep.
And Mille Lacs was a great case study for planting Wisconsin barred fish in a lake that basically did not have muskies.
Right.
Coming from genetics of a monster fish, and proven those fish got absolutely gigantic.
Right.
So many 52 to 55, 56-inch class Wisconsin fish. I don't know if that's the answer, but it definitely worked out there.
Yeah. Right.
Take it for what it's worth.
Yeah, I mean, it's proven, that's for sure.
So we ended up popping that 47-inch Scotty on day 2, and we went home feeling pretty damn good about life. So basically, the whole drive home from Mille Lacs, which is about 6.5 hours back here to Madison, all I could think about was how on earth I was going to change my life to go back to that lake and fish for monster fish every single day. That's all. That was it. I didn't care what I had been. I started guiding in 1990. Let's see, 94, 95, and
right out of high school, right? Pretty much.
I graduated in 90.
Yep.
And so I kind of floundered around, worked at a couple tackle shops and whatnot, and that's how I really started my guiding career. But like I said, that drive home, all I could think about was how can I go there and fish big ones every day. I did not care what it took. I was going to that lake. That was my decision.
Gonna go even more broke to go chase those things.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter. Money wasn't an issue. You just gotta go.
Obviously, as much as time as we spend on the water, it's really got to be in you, and you have to want it bad.
Right.
To uproot your complete life to go somewhere that you have really no clue what you're doing. But basically, that weekend, I decided whatever it took, I was going to that lake, and pretty much spent the winter kind of planning that out.
Logistics, where you're gonna stay.
Where am I gonna stay? I mean,
what
I gotta have
equipment you needed for people. I mean, it wasn't cheap. Guiding's not cheap to fill up a boat with gear that you can use all year.
I needed a boat.
Yeah.
I changed boats as well.
Oh, sure. You're getting into a fiberglass boat.
Yeah, I jumped into a Ranger 618 tiller. Welcome to boat payment world.
Yep.
Yeah, that was rather uncomfortable. Boat payment, truck payment, whatnot. But it just didn't matter. No. So going back to the Muskie show that winter, I think it was the Paul Hartman Minnesota Muskie show. I'm hanging out at the Esox Angler booth with Dave Fernera, and I'm like, where am I going to stay? Where am I going to stay? And it turns out there's a booth right across from where we were at the Esox booth, and I can't remember whose booth it was. It might have been Just Big Muskies.
Oh, sure.
Eric Jacobson.
Yeah.
And there was
a good friend to have.
Yeah. Hi, Eric. What's up? Thank you so much for everything, by the way. So at any rate, there's a little piece of paper hanging off the table of the booth across from me, and it says cabin for rent, Mille Lacs Lake, blah, blah, Wealthwood, blah, 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 phone number. I'm like, Dave Fernera, he's like, what's that right there? Dude, it was meant to be.
That's hilarious.
It was meant to be.
Boom. Yeah, I guess I'll stay there. That's funny.
That ended up being
the
cabin I rented on the north end of the lake by the Wealthwood Launch, which happened to be some of the most fabulous sand fishing on the entire lake.
Yeah.
And I know the biggest fish that Maina ever hooked out there was straight out from my cabin there.
That's
actually.
Funny. Wow.
On a Magic Maker. That thing looked like a flippin' tarpon coming out of the water. So yeah, I had a place to stay.
Yep.
It was...
What'd that cost for... How many months did you rent that?
I rented it July through November, and it came out to like $750 a month. So
yeah, that's not cheap. No.
It was a 3-season cabin. It had propane heat.
Yep.
It was a little cold in November,
I'm
but
sure.
at any rate, man, so that's how it happened, how it got there.
That's awesome.
So we get back from our glorious trip on Mille Lacs, and all we can think about is going next weekend.
Great.
So a buddy of ours, Chad Strutzel, he had a Ranger at the time as well. So we had a good-sized boat. Pretty much decided we were going back the next weekend. Went back up there. I think we only caught 3, but I happened to catch a 52-incher, 52 by 25, on the day 4 that I ever spent on that lake. Definitely a 40-pound class fish.
Was that a Scotty, that one?
That was not.
That
nope.
snow one?
That's the snow shot.
Okay.
And that was 52-inch spotted.
Yep.
And it was snowing that day, quite a bit actually. The shot, we'll show the shot now of that fish. The snow against the red carpeting was just an incredible photo.
Contrast, yeah.
And to be honest, that's really the picture that kind of put my career in fast forward mode right there. That picture just was a statement.
And to be able to send that to people to get them up to that lake is very. Yeah, I would like to catch one of those.
Yeah, I could understand the feeling. So pretty much that's really how it got going there. That one fish, I was able to somehow talk my prior customers into coming up to fish a lake that I basically had not really fished before.
And at your cabin, was it big enough for people to just crash at for customers?
Yeah, it was a 1-bedroom, had 2 beds in there,
and
then it had a futon. Actually, had 2 futons and a couch also.
So it was perfect, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. We definitely had, probably 5 people stay there before.
Yeah. That works out good.
But yeah, so basically, I told my customers, my previous client or current client base, that I don't know this lake, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go there July through November. I'm going to spend the first week there and try to figure out as much as I can. And you guys can come up and stay with me there and fish with me on this incredible body of water. And, everybody's reaction when they first saw the lake was,
it's big.
Wow, this thing's like an ocean. Coming from Wisconsin, a big lake
the puddles,
here,
right.
1,000 acres is a big lake.
Yep.
So
now let's multiply that by 100.
132,000 acres of water, basically 10 by 15 miles. It's a big one. So, so I got there the first week of July, and, it was definitely a lot of what I did is just driving around, marking weed beds. I had a GPS. I finally had a GPS.
With the map.
With a map card.
Yep.
Yes, so that's 2005, keep in mind. I had a 5-inch Lowrance combo unit.
Nice.
I think it was a 522, I want to say.
Yeah.
And it...
color or no color?
It was color.
It was a color one.
Yes, yep.
Big
And
moves.
I just drove around and marked all the weeds as green X's, all the rocks as yellow X's. And, and I still have a lot of these waypoints too that produced forever over the years, and I'm sure still would. But so finally, my first bite that I ended up catching out there was a 50-inch class fish on a walk the dog top water.
Ah, cool. That's stupid.
I'm like, wow, this is just it. Man. I'm in heaven now.
Yeah, they're eating top waters. Walk the dog.
Yeah.
Too.
So let's see, how did it go? Oh, so I was fishing with good friend Bart Rosen, and we were in Sunset Bay, and this is like just about a week into it before I had my first customers I was fishing with. And we're fishing, he's throwing a top H2O at probably 11:30 at night, and he's like, got one, and I hear explosion like I've not heard in my lifetime. And long story short, we get the fish in, it went under the boat, jumping out the other side of the boat with the line under the boat. Land the fish was a 55-inch muskie.
Oh, first week. No kidding.
Yeah.
Bart.
Bart was good at pulling them out. And
That's
huge,
just stupid.
yeah, huge shout out to Bart Rosen too, by the way, for helping me do this insane way of life up there. I was able to crash at his place a lot as well. So thank you.
That's insane.
Yeah, so 55-inch class fish. I was like, this is pretty damn awesome.
This big.
So after that, ended up getting some of my customers up to fish with me, and things were looking pretty good.
Yeah.
It was pretty amazing. In the first 6 weeks of being there, I think we caught 6 over 50, and including 2 55 by 25.
In the summer.
No, I take that back. No, let me back that up. Sorry. Bart's was not that fat. It still had eggs in it, actually. It was in July, so it was past its prime, I would say, and reabsorbing eggs. That one was not super fat, but we had 155 25 that I had a guy catch on a triple D jerkbait off of the Red Door. A funny story on that fish. I'm like, he kept pulling in all the cabbage, and I'm like, no, you got to rip it harder through the cabbage so you don't bring in the whole stalk. And he starts ripping it like ridiculously just to spite me because I was telling him what to do. Well, 2 casts of that, and he got a 55-incher, so that worked out good. But yeah, so the first 6 weeks we had 2 55-inch class fish and various other 55-plus inch fish, including a 53 that actually Sasha raised on a walk the dog topwater, my fish stick. Went back to it a few nights later and caught it. So that was the first 53-inch class fish I'd ever handled at that point. So things were getting kind of interesting. I was starting to feel into the groove. Things were going. And I'm filling up gas at Garrison one day. It's kind of a funny story. And I'm just going to tell it like it is. So I'm filling up gas. This little short guy about my height comes up to me, and he's like, "Hey, nice fish, kid." And I'm like, "Whoa,
who's this?"
And I kind of thought I knew who it was. And he's like, "Hey, nice to meet you, Jason Hammernick," and shook my hand.
Like, all right.
I was like,
I'm here.
I didn't know what to. You know, I take people very literally usually, and maybe that's my downfall sometimes. But yeah, no. And I want to say too, coming from an out-of-stater going there to fish, Jason never gave me a hard time. Was just like, hey man, it's a big freaking lake.
We're fine.
Whatever.
We're not on top of
Catch
each
them,
other.
man. Catch them. So thank you, Jason, for being nice to me that way. I appreciated that. But that was a weird hello. So at any rate, just kind of a cool story I thought I'd share. But yeah, there really was just a handful of us guys out there targeting those big fish.
Incredible times. The peak of Minnesota muskie fishing. It was just the perfect
scenario.
I mean, these fish weren't touched for 10, 12 years. And a lot of them were 50-plus inches, and they'd never seen lures before.
Right. And that's really why the lake was so good, as good as it was. The stocking numbers are really not that dramatic.
Not incredible, yeah. I mean,
good, but it's a huge body of water. The thing that really took place there, you have a very fertile body of water with incredible forage base, Cisco's primarily, perch and whatnot. And those fish were stocked and allowed to get to adult size before fishing them.
Getting touched.
That was the perfect recipe.
Right.
So, I mean, that's really why we're talking about this right now, is because all that took place to make that happen. And you know, I think about some of the younger muskie fisheries right now, like Lake Geneva, for instance.
Would be a perfect, thing to talk about at the moment. I mean, the fish are getting, they're getting big out there.
They're going to touch 50 probably right about now.
Yeah, very soon. But unfortunately, over the last 10 years, they've been getting caught.
They're getting hammered on.
Right.
And I can't blame them.
No.
Everybody wants to catch one.
Right. Which, if that fishery was left alone for 10 years and let those big, spotted fish get to 50 inches without being handled, I mean, that would be one of the incrediblest, stocked muskie lakes right now.
But realize it's not possible.
No.
But it's just food for thought to see what happened. And Vermilion is another classic example, another lake that is had this giant rise back in the late 2000s,
Yep.
and now has crashed not nearly as dramatically.
Right. It has more, stocking previously throughout its time
Sure.
of being a great fishery, which definitely helps. I think Mille Lacs had a few gap years that it looks like.
Definitely, yes. Unfortunately, memory kind of fails me a little bit, but throughout the course of that 2005 season, I think we ended up at 17 or 18 over 50 inches. One fish I remember in particular was in early November. We're on Garrison Reef again. I'm throwing that same grandma bait
From the year before.
yeah, and have I caught my first 40-pounder on a figure 8. That fish came in, it was just glowing. It was a cold November day. Went, all the way around on the figure 8. That was definitely one of my more memorable catches, and
Yep.
we got a picture of that one you'll see here. Just
Stupid.
incredible.
Well, that's just so funny to see, like you flash back 2005 and you flash back the year before. You never even handled anything of the fish that you caught in that just single season
Right.
in your whole life.
No.
And not a lot of people have at that time. Like, just
Right.
Just
Not in this region of the
right,
country
right.
anyhow.
Insane.
That just shows how incredible the rise of those fisheries was, just due to something as simple as stocking.
Stocking, yeah. Just totally artificially made and
Yeah.
amazing.
And has it affected the walleyes? Walleye fishing is amazing out there. It's incredible. The guys I know that have places on the lake saying it's, generally better now than it's ever been. So, yeah, did the muskies interfere with that? I'm going to say no.
Probably not.
A little biased, but
Yeah,
I'm going
right.
to say no.
No.
Yeah, so basically in a nutshell, it was a pretty good wrap of the first 2005
Yeah, you're
full
on the lake.
season on Mille Lacs Lake. Yeah, talk about excited for the next season.
Insane.
Man, I was just like a kid in a candy store, and you talk about the longest winter that ever was.
Right, waiting to get back there.
That was it. That was definitely it. So along came the sports show season, and
Yeah.
it was full promotion.
Right, I'm there.
I'm on this lake. I am fishing for giants. Do you
Come
want to
with me,
come do
right.
this? Because it is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We were catching, it actually, the first year was not even the best because there was so much we hadn't figured out yet.
Right. Was the sand a big thing? Big part of the first year?
Yeah,
Bit,
it was, definitely. And to Greg Thomas's credit, there was a video out that he did with Badfish, I want to say.
Okay.
And Luke and Greg had caught a 50-some inch fish on camera out there.
Yep.
And those videos were out there to watch.
So people are starting to know, like, this
Yeah.
is where we need to be for our next trophy
Yeah.
destination.
Yeah, so it was full on at the sports shows. And of course, it was all the buzz, what was going on. In red baits was the big thing.
Red baits.
Fluorescent orange, fluorescent red, anything red was what was working out there. And to the point, going back to that first 50-inch class fish I caught out there, that 52, was on a creamsicle bulldog, which is white and orange.
Yep.
And that was dyed, all the white was dyed red. So it was an orange and red bulldog. And that was the thing,
Right.
was the orange baits. Everybody was painting orange top waters,
Funny.
orange everything. So after a season under the belt, it definitely made it a lot easier to get to book customers and get people to come and fish that water.
I can imagine.
Yeah, the proof was in the photos. And along come 2006. Let's see here. So that was actually the year that the Cowgirl got rolling.
Yeah.
And I recall I was fishing with Pete Maina at the time, just kind of for an afternoon before a filming deal out there.
Yep.
And we picked up Luke Ronestrand at the boat launch. And Luke's got these fluffy, giant bladed, pizza pan bladed, Flashaboo baits.
Uh-oh.
Had a handful of them.
Yep.
Some blue ones, a pink, I believe.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, what the hell? I remember seeing those at the shows this winter.
Yep.
What's up with
What's
this
the
thing?
deal? Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you know, it's been good.
Right.
I've been getting a few fish on it. And, well, it was cold front day, northwest wind. We roll into Vineland Bay, middle of the day. There's, you know, high 40-inch fish rolling in behind this thing like I've never seen.
Yeah.
They were digging this double 10
Never seen this
cowgirl thing. What is this? Oh, man, yeah. So that's pretty much what made a lot of Minnesota muskie guides was the cowgirl, because it was so simple.
Right.
Anyone could go throw a double 10
and
bucktail.
catch a 50-incher. Anybody.
It was like, I just remember hearing the stories of customers of mine stopping in at Thorns and be like, here, you need this bait, cowgirl, and just go drive to Mille Lacs and you catch a 50-incher. And a lot of them did.
That's stupid. Insane.
So, yeah, so that's pretty much where that bait began, was on that lake, to my understanding, with Jason Hammernick. I think had 1 or 2 over 50 the first couple of days throwing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty amazing. Obviously, rubber was a big thing as well. So definitely people were taking notice, and I get a phone call.
Oh, boy.
And it's from none other than James Linder, one of my all-time fishing idols. And James calls up. He says, yeah, Lee, just got done reading your recent piece in the Esox Angler. Thought that'd make a great segment on the edge.
Yeah.
Would you have any interest in those sort of activities with us?
Yeah.
Let me think here. Let me check my calendar. I'm open.
Please come.
Short little deal on that. When I was probably 11 or 12 years old, I told my mom, I told my dad, someday I'm going to be on Linder's show.
Yep.
It was probably about 22 years later that phone rang, and it was James Linder. So
wild.
Another shout out to the Linder family and all those that work at Linder Media.
Yep. That
really helped me, catapult my fishing career, I guess. So yeah, thanks to all those guys who've been so kind to me over the years, and everybody as well. But so that was a thing. And I recall I think it was the first time I shot with James was in the fall of 2006, I want to say. And I remember hooking a absolute monster fish on rubber. And like the head shakes, there was unmistakably, you would get head shakes out there in the fall on rubber that you knew they were 40-pound class fish. You just knew before you got it to the boat that it was going to be well over 50 inches. And I hooked one of those with James, and I lost it.
Yeah, crushing moment.
and this true story, that night, sitting in my cabin by myself, I cried.
Yeah, like, shoot,
I needed that
it.
fish.
Yeah.
I needed that fish.
The one. Ugh.
So, but having an opportunity to be fishing on the best water, inland water in the country, with my mentors, it
Very
was
cool.
Pretty amazing experience, pretty humbling. That's Mille Lacs. That's pretty much how it all really kind of got going for me.
Right.
I know a lot of people are curious to hear that story sometimes.
Yep.
And it only got better. The cowgirl made it better. I'm not kidding. It really did. Everybody knows the effectiveness of big blades nowadays. And I can't recall the exact numbers, but I think it was maybe 19 over 20 that year.
Okay.
19 over 20.
I hope
that
so.
made
It's a little
sense.
bit more than
19
20.
over 50 is what I meant to say. It was maybe it was 16. It was 16 to 19 over 50, somewhere right in there.
Okay.
But we started to definitely figure out some things. The night fishing out there, slow rolling blades. People were onto the blade thing, but once it got dark, our big thing is we just slowed down ultra slow, and where we were actually ticking weeds, ticking rock reefs with the blades, and there could be 10 boats lined up, and only a couple boats were hooking up, and that was that super slow roll. That was so different than what guys had done before.
Right. Just learning as you go.
Yeah. And quite literally, we had, when the fishing was good, let's say like a good night off of Red Door Weeds on the north end, it would be about 7:30, 8 o'clock, you'd start to see muskies porpoising. And typically the hotter days, you would want a nice hot day to have usually a good night bite, which coincided with horrible bug hatches, by the way.
Yeah.
Unbearable to some point. But you'd see the fish popping, porpoising about 8 o'clock. You'd get some follows. And then usually about like 9 o'clock, right before 9, you'd either pop like a smaller one, you know, a 44 or something.
A small one, yeah.
And then it would kind of die down. But at like 9:20, I'm talking like July especially.
Yeah.
About 9:20, I'm like, don't worry. About 9:20, somebody's going to get eaten.
Yep.
And sure enough, the camera flashes would start popping.
Everyone.
It was just unbelievable.
Crazy.
But yeah, no, we learned a lot that season. The cowgirl definitely made a big impact. My point is that once we got the big blades dialed in for the slow roll, it was nothing to catch 5 fish a night.
Yeah.
It was nothing. And I can honestly tell you, on the really good nights, they would just keep biting. They would keep biting. And we'd be out there till 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning sometimes. And I'd look over at my customers. I'm like, you want to make another drift, catch another one or two, or
whatever.
Do you want to go in? No, we're ready to go in. Yeah, we're done.
We're done catching muskies.
We've had enough. It honestly was that way. And it actually got to the point where I was not even, if I caught it myself, I was not photographing a muskie until it was over 50 inches.
Insane.
Wouldn't even take a picture. You know what I would give for a 4-footer right now? Do you have any idea, people?
Amazing how that changes.
We were spoiled rotten.
Yeah.
That was just the impact it had of those fish not being pressured.
Yeah. Ah, man. Dang. That sounded fun.
Yeah, so I'm just happy that so many people, great customers and friends of mine got to come and experience that. Yeah. I mean, it's muskie history right there. And I was fortunate enough to be there at that time.
As many days as possible as you really could.
Yeah, it was incredible. Yeah, so in the fall of 2006, I got back out with James, and I think we caught several fish, 3 fish I think, and one of them was a fat, like a 46, 47 incher, just ridiculous, totally a 30-some pound animal.
Tall animal.
and that video, that was one of the most viewed videos that they had on YouTube, and to this day, I know it's in the millions of views or whatever. But that was just a memorable time to be able to catch a late fall, you know, not big, but a fat, nice fish.
Right, for camera, it's perfect. Yeah.
And that's, I guess that one is memorable to me because we did not have a lot of footage of these fish.
Right.
And that was, you know, there's no GoPros.
No, it wasn't easy back then.
There's no, you had flip phones.
Right.
You were lucky you were talking to someone on the lake on a phone. So that definitely changed things. I just think back to, if we could have just ran one GoPro.
Yeah, all those times.
All those times.
Cool stuff would have been there.
Just amazing stuff that we were not able to capture. So any opportunity I had to get in front of the camera to put muskies on camera was just an amazing opportunity.
A treat, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then came the big fish with Gillispie. Of course, Maina was coming over. We were shooting the Next Bite episode.
That's the following year?
Yeah, I believe that was 2007.
Okay.
And this is November again, where I'm out with Pete and John. And at that point, we had, this is mid-November. I want to say it was November 15th of 2007.
We don't get those nice late November days anymore.
No.
What happens?
Yeah, it's global warming.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
At any rate, so I'm out with Pete and Gillispie, and we had a nice show put together. I think we had, let's see, 1, 2, for sure 3 muskies in the boat at that point. and it was noon on our third day, and we were kind of just shooting the kind of closing, or just kind of the, not closing so much, but the
sponsor stuff.
Yeah,
Johnsonville's.
Yeah, the Johnsonville and this and that and the other, and an ad for Esox Angler magazine. And we're telling the story. John was asking how, well, you caught, you don't just catch them now, you catch them all summer long.
Yep.
We had, at that point, had 26 over 50 in the boat. That was my best season out there. And John just says, do you think there's one more for us out there? And keep in mind, this is like just about the end of the year.
Yep.
And I said, it's probably right in front of us.
Sure enough, it was. Spooky.
5-10 casts later, I caught what happened to be, at that point, it's probably one of the heavier muskies ever put on television, so to speak. And, in the net bent with a floating stick, it was a 52, 52, 53 incher, and definitely one of the biggest around fish I'd ever handled. I've girthed a lot of fish since that time, comfortably, was in that 27, 28 inch class, what have you. But that was an amazing fish. To catch that fish on camera, when we did it, the last day of the trip, my phone started ringing. After that fish was on the screen on Gillespie's show, Thanksgiving weekend, too. It was Thanksgiving weekend, man.
People were on the couch.
Holy cow. Man, I could have booked 14 days a week at that point. It was insane. But yeah, what a great memory to capture that. Hopefully we can dig up some of that footage. We're going to try here.
Well, I'll tell you what, Lee, this is my last day of muskie fishing, 2006. I hope we get one more, but I want to talk a little bit about your guiding here on Mille Lacs this year. You had a phenomenal year. I think you told me that you had 26 muskies over 50 inches in your boat, and your clients caught most of those, right?
Well, yeah. Well, so far 26. Hopefully there's one more today.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at pictures of some of those fish. I mean, maybe you can explain a couple of the bigger ones to the folks at home as we're looking at those pictures. They're phenomenal.
Well, basically in the last week we had 3 fish that were in the high 40s, and another one that was actually over 50 pounds. So.
High 40 pounds is what we're talking, not inches. You bet. Well, tell you what, man, had a great time the last couple days. You think there is one more 50 out there waiting for us this afternoon?
It's probably right in front of us.
All right, man. Fish on, fish on. Lee's got a fish on, Pete. Lee's got a fish on. Is it a big one, Lee? Oh, here he is. Here he is. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. That's a big fish, man. That's a huge muskie, man. He's coming over here. He's coming over here. He's coming over here. Quick, Pete, 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 Pete. Oh, my gosh. That's a Slavosaurus massive Rex, man. Holy cow. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Holy moly. How big is that thing, man?
That's over 50.
That's over 50 inches long. Holy hell, way to go, guys, man. That is a Slavosaurus massive Rex. Holy cow.
We have just talked about that.
Oh, my. What happened on that deal, man?
Big paws in the bait, and gave it some hang time. It's sinking. I got back into it, and the rod just doubled.
Oh, folks, wait.
I knew it was a big one when you said that.
Wait till you see this fish. Oh, my gosh.
Look at that.
Look at the size of that muskie. Look at that fish. Oh my, that's heavy, isn't it, buddy?
That's a big fish right there, John.
Hey, number 27 is 27th over 50 this year, buddy.
This is another solid mid 40 pounder.
I'll tell you what, though, man, this is an amazing story, this lake, and what you've been able to accomplish out here this year, Lee. And we just said a minute ago, there's one more 50 left for you, right?
That's her right there.
But look at the gut on
there
this
goes the
thing.
net.
Hey, Pete. The net's floating away. The net's floating away. Oh, what a big Slavosaurus, man.
Awesome.
Oh, look at her. And there she goes. Wow.
All right.
All right, come on up here, man. Hey, congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you very much, John.
And I'll tell you what, hey, guys, seriously.
Look what I got.
Hey, Pete caught the Frable.
We got the net back.
Lee, you were supposed to hang on to that.
The old Frable floated away, but there it comes, man. We don't want to lose that Frable because there's probably another big one down there.
Now, how am I supposed to hold on to a 45-pounder and the net, Pete? Come on.
You're supposed to think of these
But
things.
seriously, when you look at these fish.
But at any rate, we got a photo of that fish. But yeah, that's pretty much, that's the good
peak. Yes, the peak years.
The peak years of Mille Lacs, 2004 through 2007.
Yep.
And what happened in 2008? What the hell happened in 2008? And that's kind of half the reason we're doing this video.
The rise and the fall. We're talking about
the fall.
Yep.
So fast forward to 2008. We're in Sunset Bay in July.
Yep.
The water's getting nice and warm. Where the hell is the fish? Where are they?
Yeah.
We started catching 38, 36, 40-inch class fish on our 55-inch icons.
Our prime spots, yeah. That's not really what you want to see.
Like repetitively, not just one here, one there.
Yep.
The fish were not showing up, and it was, you talk about scary.
Right.
I mean, I thought it was just a given. We're just going to go get them.
Yeah, yeah.
You go out there and you get them. And we were not getting them. And I guess this kind of brings us to, a lot of guys have asked, what's my theory? Someone that spent a lot of time on the lake to see what happened, why you couldn't catch them anymore. There's a lot of truth to probably all the things that have been said, ranging from we killed them.
Yep.
There was definitely delayed mortality was one of the huge
swallowing bucktails and whatnot. People that never handled these caliber sized fish. I mean, taking photos, I'm sure, too long.
Too many pictures. We had hot summer. 2007 was really hot.
Yep.
We definitely, in all honesty, I can only think of one muskie that we lost, a 44, 45-inch class fish that died in our hands.
Sure.
Okay?
Right.
But how many died on top of that?
Right, yeah.
No
Nobody
idea.
knows, right.
No clue, no idea. So, yeah, with that said, what was going on in that lake? Okay, here's my thought. Here's my theory what happened in that lake. In 2008, we had the highest water they had on that body of water in many, many, many years. It was record high water. And what do muskies do with high water?
Especially spotted ones.
With current. What do? They go places.
Yeah, they swim.
They swim. And those fish, in my opinion, a lot of those fish left that lake. Obviously, like I said, the delayed mortality is definitely a thing, but I'm very convinced that a lot of those fish swam down the Rum River and probably made their way all the way down to the Mississippi.
Yep, I would believe that. And I mean, there's reports of catching Mille Lacs fish in the small ponds around it, so it's not like that was the only way they were out. They're getting out other places. There's plenty of creeks that run into Mille Lacs, so. Those
fish moved around. I mean, but to have that dramatic of a change.
And spring, basically.
Yeah. But there's one other factor, too, that I don't know if a lot of people realize. One thing that I noticed and I felt was a contributing factor to the lack of catch rate was that I just recall in 2008, just going along the weed lines in July, there was basically number 5 to number 7 Shad Rap sized Cisco's.
Oh.
Trains of them just under the surface going down the weed lines. There was young, huge Cisco spawn in 2007. So there's another contributing factor. Just a huge boom in forage.
Right. They didn't have to eat. Yeah, wow, that's, who knows?
I mean, it was like clockwork. Like on the calmer, sunnier days, you could see these small Cisco's that looked like Shad Raps, literally, swimming down the weed lines. And in the evening, they'd be popping at, bugs and whatever. And definitely, I think that was a factor as well.
Yep.
Which kind of brings us to the more light-colored muskies that were caught out there, especially in the late season. If there's a big boom in the Cisco base,
they're going to be out there.
There's going to be more fish in open water. The only time that those Cisco's really come to structure is during the spawn, and that's usually first week of November on that lake typically. That's when we'd contact those fish, and we contacted less and less of them, and it seemed like more and more were like that white.
Yeah, the ghost fish that you see nowadays, a lot of them.
Yep.
Or those open water, you know, they're not sitting on structure all day. They're just swimming around coasting, eating stuff out in the middle.
Big blondes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Yeah, they're not, especially, I mean, another big thing, I mean, stocking numbers were never great there, so.
For that big of a lake, they were not that good, to be honest.
3,000, we just looked back at it, it's roughly 3,000 every 2 years, so.
Sure.
3,000 fish, how many actually make it? Then top it off on a 130K acre lake. I mean, that's a pretty small stocking for a body of water like that.
Just as a size comparison, here in Madison, you know, we got about 5,000 acres of musky water, 5,500, and we get, you know, 500 to 1,000 fish a year.
Right.
And we've got one of the best fisheries in the state.
Yep. I mean, that's...
So do the math.
Yeah.
It's not really that many fish, and a lot of the fish they stocked early on were small fish.
Mm-hmm.
They were fry, even musky fry.
Right.
Didn't you say one year there was...
Yeah, on Mille Lacs they were stocking, there's one, you know, they're just stocking fries, yeah. Because on
12,000 or something?
Right, which, how many actually make it with all the walleyes, all the smallmouth?
Yeah.
Lots of predators in that body of water, so, I mean, if you're going to stock them, they got to be well on their way.
Yeah, it's kind of proven now. Once you get them over that 10, 12-inch range, the survival rate is considerably higher. Better. But, I don't know, I kind of forgot where I left off.
Yeah,
but
the Cisco thing.
Yeah, oh yeah, seeing the Cisco swim by truly was a phenomenon. Another thing that started to switch out there was the weed growth. We were seeing less and less cabbage and more Eurasian milfoil.
Okay.
Which of course was prolific in Minneapolis and the cities, and obviously we brought that stuff on our boats, you know, and you know, you talk the weed Nazis out there. I mean, there's a thing to it, but how do you stop it? The stuff comes in on birds. You know, you can do your best is all you can do.
Right.
So, but yeah, there's a few factors there, but I truly think the high water and of course delayed mortality is, and really not enough fish in the grand scheme of it.
The big thing, especially, and they also got smarter in those last 4 years. I mean, how many boats would be out there? Hundreds?
A lot.
Yeah,
I mean, there could be 100 boats on a weekend.
And that definitely takes a toll on dumb fish like that. The muskies were their own worst enemies, really.
Right.
Eating cowgirls left and right. They can only...
Do you want to catch a couple more or you want to go in?
Right.
Wow, yeah. And that wasn't every night. Don't take that wrong. I mean, I recall one, the lake didn't stratify, doesn't turn over, but I recall one first week of October one year, it got super cold. I think we went 8 days without a fish. That was probably the longest we ever went.
What year was that?
I'm going to say probably 8. 2008,
okay.
Yep.
So the following year.
Yeah, which is when it really started to fall. Mm-hmm. So, was it the high water? I don't know.
We're not muskies, unfortunately.
We don't really know.
We can't talk to them and say what happened.
So with our lack of success in the 2008 season, was a perfect opportunity to branch out and fish some of the other amazing waters that were available, whether it was Leech Lake, Vermilion still hung on.
Yeah.
They're tighter. It just was, I don't know, it was still easier to catch them there. Cass Lake, that was another cool lake I liked spending some time on, up around that neck of the woods.
Yep.
You know, and that's a pretty much a natural fishery, I think, like Leech, too.
Right.
So no stocking. I don't believe there's any stocking.
I don't think so either on that part. Yeah.
But it was cool. Definitely getting a chance to, you know, experience some of the other waters that were available.
They're just as big.
Oh my gosh.
You don't have to fight a 100K acre lake though.
Yes. Yeah. So here's the thing. So you can pretty much go to any lake in Minnesota and have a chance at a 50-inch class muskie.
At any time.
Yeah,
it's insane.
They just come out of anywhere.
It's more rare to have a trip where you don't see one than you do. It's insane. You just see 50 inches. You're like, oh yeah, another 51.
Every day we go out, we see
much.
A 50-inch fish in Minnesota. By and large.
Stupid water. So cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so for the next several seasons, I spent my time between Mille Lacs and Vermilion and some of the other lakes just bouncing around. became, was one of the
gypsies,
musky guys.
Musky gypsies.
And I'm kind of glad that lifestyle's over at the moment. Getting older here or whatever.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it was really quite depressing to see that lake change so fast. Whatever the cause was, we don't really know.
Yep.
We'd definitely like to hear your guys' input. What are your thoughts? What do you feel happened to that lake?
I mean, it's still getting 3,000 fish every 2 years, which should be plenty since it's not getting hit as hard anymore, other than the fall. I mean, you still see those handful of pictures every year of those 56, 57-inch ghost fish caught in the basin trolling. They're still out there. You can still, at any moment, catch one of the biggest fish that lives in the United States, really.
Yeah, so in the lake's defense, I know I sound kind of down on it because you can't go out there anymore and get 5 bites a day like it was sometimes. 10 bites, 14 bites,
whatever you
20 bites, I mean, literally we had, a lot of 10 fish days out there.
Yeah.
But in the lake's defense, right now is probably the best opportunity to catch a legit 55-pound class muskie, whether it be casting or trolling.
In the next couple weeks, really. I mean, it's going to be the 3rd week of October, and that's generally when everyone starts going over there and trying to catch the fish of their lifetime.
There is literally 58-inch class monster fish. I mean, there was just a big giant caught fairly recent.
Yeah, a month ago, there was 58-incher was caught. Insane animals. They still live there. Just hard to go back, really.
Yeah, for those of you that are not familiar, you can literally go out there for 2 weeks in the fall and maybe not catch a fish.
I think after the one I caught with you, it's been...
Yeah, we haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah, well, that's 2016, but...
Right.
Shoot, I've got 20 more days after that, probably on that water, and haven't had a sniff or a bite since then. So, just how it goes.
And I know where those fish live. I mean, I know where those fish live, and still have not been able to put another one. The last big one that I personally caught, that was when I had Big Fish 365.
2011, I think that fall footage would be from.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a 53-inch fish. We did not girth it, but it was definitely in that 27 whatever range.
Which we have footage of that. Some good classic footage.
Oh, yeah. No, that's definitely...
highlight.
We got her! What a monster fish! Oh, man, that was music to my ears, seeing that big thing. And it snowed 6 inches that day, but we had just come back from Vermilion. We were basically froze off Vermilion.
November 11th.
Yeah, so we rolled out to Mille Lacs to finish off there with a, high 40 or maybe, I don't know.
Could have been knocking on that 50-pound.
Definitely a big one.
Very cool.
Get the net! Get the net! Way to go, Lee!
Hey! It's the Mille Lacs record chase right now! We got a big fish on. She doesn't want to come off. Come on, girl. I can't lift it, I'm telling you. Here she comes. Yeah! Wow! We got her! What a monster fish, man! Look at the size of that thing! Yeah! Wow! Look at that fish! Holy moly, man! An absolute monster! It's not the state record, but it's getting pretty close to that caliber of fish. That's gotta be probably 26-inch girth. Maybe 27. Let's get a measurement here. Yeah, so those were the glory days of Mille Lacs, and like I said, it's still a great opportunity to possibly catch a fish of many, many, many lifetimes out there. Just the odds of actually catching one are down dramatically. I mean, this time of year, I always get a bunch of messages from people. Hey, I'm gonna go to Mille Lacs, and where can I have a chance at catching a few fish? And I'm like,
a few.
Man, if you get one, you're doing pretty good. So that's how tough it is now.
Yeah, I mean, just think about last year. There's 3-4 guides that spend basically a month out there, and I think 5 or 6 fish were caught. Granted, they were all super tankers, giants.
Oh yeah.
which is why they're there, because they
Right.
want that moment. And but you gotta be willing to spend that time though.
Yes. You
But
got to definitely pay
right.
some dues and
Yep.
be lucky.
Yes, very lucky. Which, 2016, I was very lucky. My first time to Mille Lacs. Insane. Yeah, that was cool. That was a great invitation from Lee. We were filming for Today's Angler. We were trying to be on TV at that point.
Yeah, we were
Not
looking
even-
to be on television.
Not even YouTube, so definitely back then. It was my senior year of high school. I was 18 years old. Or no, I think it was my junior year. Let me think.
Time gets away, Robbie. This is what happens.
This is what happens. Wow.
No, I think it was your senior year.
Yeah, it was my Yep, because it was the fall. Yep. I never missed a day of school in my life in high school, and that was my first time missing school. It was a Friday. We left on a Friday.
He asked his mom
Yep.
if he could skip school
Yep, and she's
to
like,
come to
"Oh,
Mille
yeah,
Lacs
sure."
with me.
She understood what I was getting myself into, what I wanted to do, and this is what I want to do. And she's like, "Yeah, no, go for it." I mean, I had decent grades, so it wasn't a big deal missing one day of school. So,
Senior skip day.
Yep, senior skip day. That was mine. So I followed Lee up. It was Friday then, so we had a half day to fish, and I pull up to the boat launch. There's another car there. I didn't know we were going to be fishing with anyone else, and sure enough, Mr. James Linder comes walking out of the car. I was like, wow, what is happening right now?
I didn't tell Robbie that we were meeting James.
No idea.
So that was a cool surprise for him.
That was very cool. We fished that half day. I think I had like a 44 up, and I just remember James just saying, speed it up, it wants it fast. I'm just trying to figure it as fast as I could. That was fun. James actually had a backlash, and his rod went flying into the water. So I was actually able to hook James Linder's rod and put it back into the boat.
So there was a hell of a catch.
That was a good memory. Following day, we had some beautiful weather. Northwest winds, like 10, 15 probably miles an hour.
10 to 15.
November 6th.
Indian Point.
Yep. Moon was at 11:30, I believe. And I set the hook on like 11:36, 37.
Just past moon.
Yep, just past it. Oh, I just remember getting that bite. And I just remember looking at my rod tip. You can see it in the video. And I just remember so sick to my stomach. Like, this is happening. I'm really in a Mille Lacs Muskie. Seeing all the photos, seeing all the video from it, growing up, wanting to go there and stuff. And that moment was happening. And third sweep of the rod. Insane. Oh. Panicked, hooked by one
hook on a husky Medusa.
Oh my gosh, such a cool moment.
To get his first bite on that lake,
yeah,
and to have it be this fish, which was a 54.5 inch by 27 inch girth.
First 50-incher for me, first time to Minnesota, and that kind of sealed the deal for what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, is chase big animals like that.
That's pretty much where Robbie's life got ruined.
Yeah, ruined real quick.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah,
I warned you.
I know.
You know I warned you.
You don't want to do this. But here we are. I'm glad I did. Absolutely incredible. The cool thing about that fish, on the same reef, Jason Hammernick hooked up, and he got a 54.5 by 27, just in front of us, same time, and talking to Luke Ronestrand on a different reef somewhere over there, same time, same bite window, they got a 54.5 by 27. So
all
three fish, same dimensions. Insane.
Caught within the same 5-minute window.
Yeah, insane. Oh, it just makes it really stupid when you're musky fishing, and that's how it happens. Like,
it's pretty nauseating, to be completely honest.
You got to be on the right fish at the right time, because otherwise
you got nothing.
Get it. Yeah, insane.
And there's lots of water with nothing out there.
Yep, there's a lot of stuff. But
so as you watch this footage of this amazing animal, once Robbie realizes what kind of animal he's into, which he really didn't even realize.
No.
We just knew it was way bigger than anything he'd ever seen. Watch his cheeks turn red and the hyperventilating start to set in.
My cheeks were just bright.
Oh my gosh.
Right when you could see the flash of the fish, and then just boom, red.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
He's telling me at boat side, she's up, the fish is up.
Nope.
And I'm like, no, that's like 8 feet down, dude. I can't net this thing yet. I can't get it in under it. But yeah, it just it ended up happening.
Yeah, it happened, and that was still. I'll be chasing a fish of that caliber for a long time to get another one that size.
Could happen this fall.
Could happen this fall. Yeah.
That's why we go.
Yep.
But let's go ahead and take a look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yep. To the boat, almost. Who's up? Okay, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Careful, don't hold him. Just let him go if he wants to go a little bit.
He's up, he's up, he's up.
I can't see him though.
Yep.
I can't see him.
He's right here, he's right there.
I'm going the wrong way.
Yep. I'm going around again. All right. Okay. Come on. Here he is. Here he is. Shit.
Damn it, bro.
Okay, that's good. Okay, here she comes.
Right here.
Here she comes.
Pull it.
Go on.
Pull it.
Yep.
Pull
I
it.
got it, man. Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah, dude. Get a look at this thing, Robbie. Oh my gosh. Dude, that is a giant. Robbie, that is unbelievable.
Oh, this is an insane fish.
Oh my gosh. Dude, that's a 50-pounder, I bet. I just want to see that belly. Look at that belly.
Takes up the whole board.
Oh my gosh. Here, let me get a still shot of that too. So fortunately, Robbie was able to take advantage of that moment in time.
Get one. I got it. I can write it off my bucket list because it's a tough rodeo if it never happened before to keep thrashing out there because that is boring fishing.
Boring fishing.
Cold, not easy.
Windy, rough, you name it. It's not a pleasant place to be. As I always said, it's a great lake for muskies, just not for musky fishermen.
That's spot on.
So with all that said, let's just take a moment and think about how much tourism muskies brought to that region with just Mille Lacs Lake alone.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm talking 100 boats every weekend from everywhere across the country.
Insane.
Just amazing amount of dollars for one fish.
One muskie, to get your biggest muskie. And all those people, that Burger King in Garrison probably sold so many Whoppers.
Dude, that was nuts.
Insane.
The resorts were full. You know, the Red Door, you know, because I was up on the north end. Every resort on the lake was full at that time.
Insane.
It brought an incredible dollar amount to that area.
You go there now, it's like
it's a ghost town.
Remnant ghost town, unfortunately. Other than the casino, which is always busy, but
right. Yeah, there's one thing for certain about muskie fishermen. You know, they are willing to travel to wherever it is to catch big fish.
And
spend
the money.
They're willing to spend the money.
And
we just got to have fisheries like that to see it kind of fall by the wayside. And I'll say this point blank. I think that is probably, I don't know. How should I put it? It's the biggest disaster ever in the history of muskie fishing to see that fall by the wayside because it was the greatest success story in the history of muskie stocking, in my opinion.
Just why isn't it half as good? That's just what I don't get.
3/8 is good.
because it was
1/4 is good.
Yeah, comparatively what it was to now. Unfortunate. It's cool it still has big fish, but it's nice to have intel on the body of water. It's nice to have a follow here and there.
Yeah. And I will add here that the water levels continue to be high on many of the great musky waters of Wisconsin and Minnesota right now. And those fish are swimming. They are leaving bodies of water. That's just what they do. The vermilion fish, where did they go? And that's a whole nother subject too. I'm sure a lot of those fish are going down and
going elsewhere.
yeah, the fish being caught in lakes below Vermilion, outside of Vermilion.
Yep.
So,
yeah, it's probably the biggest thing is we need more muskies. That's probably it.
yeah,
Stocking is such a huge part of what, I mean, especially with all the new blood in the sport.
yeah,
Yeah, it's cool to hear about these stories, but man, would it be cool to have it right now, you know?
yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a thing. And the fact now that information can be spread so quickly is really, I think, in the long term, it's going to be helpful, I think, for the muskie, just for the fact that the more people that do it, the more willing states and Muskies Inc. and places are going to be able and want to spend money
to put fish in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
a big draw.
I mean, the big thing, a lot of muskies aren't reproducing anymore. It's kind of that. That's
right.
Feel like that's really over with all the shoreline development. You know, definitely you just need stocking. You need fish in the water swimming,
right?
And that's the big thing.
And fish really weren't present in all that many waters.
No.
Muskies in general, it's a very small region where they live naturally. So we have to stock. You look at some of the lakes in western Minnesota that are really stocked quite heavily, comparatively speaking. And we got a jet flying over us here right now.
Good to be back. You don't see those things around where I live.
No doubt. But yeah, just the success stories of a lot of the other stocked lakes in the state tells a big story. And the tourism that those guys have had over in the western part of Minnesota.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of money that can be spent, and it's good for everyone. It's good for the state. It's good for the economy. Muskie lives matter.
Yeah, it does.
To me, anyway. So yeah, there you have it in a nutshell. Basically, how I ended up getting my start in Minnesota.
Yeah.
What inspired me to go fish those waters, and Mille Lacs in particular. The rise and somewhat the fall of the fishery. And man, it's still a shot out there.
Yes, it's not over. It's not over.
Got to pay some serious dues.
Yeah. Please message us if you guys get one this fall. I don't know if we're going to be spending any time there. We did 3 days last year, and it just, that didn't go so good.
There's just so many other waters where you can go catch some fish.
Yeah.
I'm just like kind of over the
one bite.
The one bite.
Which is cool, but it's hard on the brain, especially now.
Especially now when you're creating videos.
Right.
Like
right.
what, you got to have something to show for it.
Not just 3 days of nothingness. But
3 days, 10 days. How many days do we have in Minnesota?
Oh, this year for me personally, I think 18, 19 days in Minnesota without catching a fish this year. Not good. Nah, I've never had that happen, but I suppose the time it can happen for me. I've been very fortunate in Minnesota.
Right.
Still one of my favorite places to go to because the fish are just totally different animals.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother topic, the scotties versus the spots.
Absolutely.
And obviously we'll talk more about that. I know that's in other videos with Larry and whatnot. We've touched on that. You may want to check out some of our legend muskie videos, the legends of muskie fishing videos. Some other good watches if you like this kind of format. Sit down and talk about muskies in general.
Right.
We can leave some links down in the description there too.
Yep.
Other than that, questions, comments, go below. We want to hear whatever. Let's talk about this.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's see what we can do. How can we better things? We know a lot of you guys ask us what you guys can do, and obviously the clubs, the muskie clubs, and whatnot. There's a lot of great people that put a lot of hard work into the muskie fisheries, and we can continue to do so. And with YouTube, quite honestly, I believe in social media, growing the sport is a good thing. I know sometimes it takes some flack, and there's definitely some downsides of it.
Showing spots, and there's a bunch of people there, but it's in the whole. You're right. It's gonna be better.
We need to grow it. So. Yeah, I don't know. Go down, hit the subscribe button. That'd be cool. And we will
catch a big muskie this fall.
Oh man, we're gonna try. We're gonna try to bring you something at any rate.
You guys, please do, and hopefully we can put a freak in the boat. Because after this season, We need a monster.
Yeah.
We got a few weeks left.
The struggle bus has been real, man.
Yeah,
That's for sure. But until then, we'll keep trying for you. Thank you so much for your continued support, and look forward to the next video.